All right, so we're going to start at the session and actually working with the clients. Consultation we talked about yesterday is critical. Everybody I photograph has to come in and take the time to sit and talk to us. I do not have time to do my own consultations. I wish I could, because there is a disconnect there for me where when I used to do my own consultations, I got to know the client a little bit earlier. I meet my clients when they walk in the door. I have an incredible staff that has been trained to prep them and excite them for the session. So people walk in very excited and it's very magical. I don't have the luxury of spending an hour or 30 to 40 minutes with each client because every hour that I'm at the studio is session time. So you have to pick and choose which is better for you. Some people choose not to do their own consultations because frankly they're afraid of their own pricing and they don't like to tell people what it costs. And you must be one of those people because you're smiling. But it's something that it's very hard to look somebody in the eye and tell them what your prices are. And when you go through that process, this is where you have to learn to be a courageous person, because what happens, I'll give you an example. When I started photography, we used proofs, 4x5 proofs. This is back in the dinosaur days. Most of you never remember this, but we would get our proofs in and a client would come in and they would sit down. And remember, my prices started at probably $99 if that. So we would lay out the proofs and we would go, through the images, and a client would be purchasing and she might get a couple 8x10s and 2 5x7s, and wow, if she got a big 11x14, I was like, my heart was just going like this, and I was thinking, how am I going to tell her how much this costs? There's no way. And we're talking, 100, 150 bucks. We're up to 150. I was sweating now. I was like, oh my gosh, I have to tell her it's 150 bucks. Anytime it got to over $200, that was it. I literally could feel myself getting nauseous. I'm like, I can't say this. So here's this client placing her order, perfectly happy, and I would get towards the end and I would be trying to figure out a way, what's the fastest way to say this? Finally, I would turn to her and I would say something like, well, it looks like your order today is around $232, but you know what, today we have a special deal, and if you want to just even do like a deposit today, then I'll probably give you all of these proofs. You can have these, and you know what, we actually have a bonus. We have a frame for your 11x14. It's actually complimentary today if you would like that. And do you have a car? Because if your car needs to be washed, I would be happy to go home. And do you need a babysitter? Because I could totally babysit your kids. I mean, I would say the stupidest things. Like I would just blah, 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 and I would start giving away the house. And they didn't even have to say anything to me. If I said 232 and they looked up like this, I was like, oh, they hate me. Oh my gosh, they're gonna kill me. And I was horrified, and I would start apologizing and giving things away. And I could totally see that you're who I'm talking today to, because I can feel that you also have that same thing. And the reason that is we are so passionate about what we do, and we love what we do so much, it's impossible to get people, it's impossible to expect to be paid for this. Again, I did that, and I lost a lot of time with my family and the people that I loved, because I didn't have the courage to tell people what I was worth. And eventually, when you wear yourself down and when you're exhausted and you haven't seen your kids for days and your marriage is in trouble and you feel like the whole world's gonna explode, you're gonna find that courage. But you don't have to wait that long to get there. You don't have to let the world come to an end before you get there. You have to look at yourself. You have to look at others around you and say, if they can do it, I can do it. And if you don't think I can do it, get out of my way, honestly. And that's where you have to get to. And the next time you look up at that client and you tell her the price, here's the rule in sales. You tell the price and what do? Shut up. That is an actual, and I don't even use that word, so I'm not trying to offend you, but that is an actual written rule in the world of sales. They say you say the price, you shut up, and the next one that speaks loses. And that is a real rule in sales. And that makes sense to you, right? If anything comes out of your mouth, you just lost somehow, some way. So we state the prices. We say, just to close it, we'll say it's $235. How would you like to pay for that? Nice. And that's, just put it back on their lap. Does that work? So instead of it's $235, dun, 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 and waiting for the end of the universe, it's gonna be, how would you like to pay for that? Because they're gonna look you in the eye and they're gonna say, ah. And when they do that, they just lost, didn't they? Because if they say, oh, Visa, then you go, great. If they say, do you have a payment plan? You say, absolutely. And if they say, you know what, let's go ahead and look at this and maybe take something off, you didn't lose anything. You didn't give anything away to get your payment. If they can't afford it, that's fair. that they're just being honest with you. But if you're giving it to them, you have no idea if they A, wanted it, or B, had to. So I didn't mean to soapbox you there, my dear, but it's all about you and all of you.
At what point do you bring up pricing, though? Is that something that
right out of the gate in the consultation?
I mean, the very beginning.
Absolutely. We do not address pricing on the phone, which we'll cover tomorrow. We try not to, but let me tomorrow tell you exactly. I'm going to make everybody out there in the audience come back to find out these things. But we will cover in depth exactly the words. And there are some just like I said, how would you like to pay for that? Those little statements are some of the most golden gems that if you're paying attention, they work. There's an entire phone conversation we're going to cover tomorrow that everybody that's calling saying, well, how much is an 8x10? Well, tell me what a package is. Tell me, I'm going to give you every objection, and I'm going to tell you how to effortlessly walk out of it so that they will literally be asking you for favors, and you're not going to be worried about them. So we're going to cover that. But as far as when, that is a great question. Absolutely at the consultation. Once you get them in the door and you're face-to-face, and when you do it, you're going to sit up straight, you're going to look them right in the eye, and you're going to be very, very proud of your work and your prices because you deserve that. In the consultation, in addition to the location, look, and investment, pricing is going to be covered. That is really, really important. Now, with pregnancy sessions, we want to find their comfort zone. We had a mom come in today, and she was literally kind of walked in the door, and I literally grabbed her arm and said, okay, let's just go. Let's get right in here. And as you can see, I was running the photo shoots today like I run my seminars. So it was like, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. I got to cram this down your throat. So that was very overwhelming for these moms, and kudos to them for being so patient because that was very stressful and chaotic. And we had moms with 6-day-old babies, first child. We had mom that walked in the door, and I snagged her right out of the gate. So it actually is highly entertaining for me. I know you guys are all back there going, holy cow. He's undressing her. Take your clothes off. All right, get naked. Everybody get naked. She'll feel comfortable. But I work at that level. But I have a very personal side, and I think you've all seen this now. The emotional, soft side of me always exists in my sessions. However, the staff I surround myself with knows that I'm like this. I'm a very nice boss. I'm also a very strong person. I'm a very nice owner of the company, but I'm also a strong owner of the company. You can be both. You don't have to be soft and fluffy and wussy and give it away. You can be soft and fluffy and strong. And honestly, it makes a difference because there's a point where I can draw a line in the sand if I have to, and I'll shut up, just like I said before, and wait for that person to speak next because I know that if I have to win because I'm going home and I'm going to go see my kids, and that's how I make it work. So with pregnancy, the consultation is really critical because I want to make sure that I know exactly what they're expecting. I don't want them to grab them by the arm and say, take your shirt off, because there's a huge issue there. And we have a lot of men photographers out there they're really concerned about that. I have men all the time say, you ladies have it so much easier. You can play with the babies. You can get women naked. You can do, whatever. I can get men naked too. The techniques work all over, but no, I'm just kidding. But I need to know where they stand. So we have 3 styles of photography when it comes to pregnancy. And when a client comes in, we sit down, we talk about them. We say there are 3 styles of photography. We're going to show you a little slideshow of each one, and you tell me how you feel about them. The first one is traditional. Now, traditional to us means clothing on. So typically we use these for things like if dad is going to be in the picture and mom's not super comfortable, if they're siblings, if they're babies, children that are older. We always say they're nice enough to show grandma. So like you could show your tummy to everyone. Some people prefer no skin at all. They just come in clothing and want to showcase the roundness of the belly. Others, like this image, they want to showcase the belly, but that's all. But you can imagine, the reason I say nice enough to show grandma, imagine if she had her shirt off, that'd be a really awkward picture right now. So, because that boy is probably 9 or 10. So just wouldn't look right. So there are occasions where clothing does have to stay on. Absolutely not my favorite look. Works brilliantly, sells very well, but it's not as personal as I would like to go with a client. The next series is fabric wraps. We taught you how to tie up a pregnant woman. How about that? We taught you that. But people struggle with that. I see clamps down people's backs, and I see, forgot about that. I see clamps down people's backs, and I can see that that's something that is a distraction and a retouching issue. So of course, we are going to find better ways to go through that. I'm going to quickly show you some images, and then we are going to go to break here. So this is a fabric wrap. This is nothing more than a piece of muslin, and we made that bra top like we showed you today. This is also just fabric. I put this in here because this is an example. This woman flew in from out of state. She was only 5 months pregnant. Wow. So she's breaking my rule. Her tummy did not cross the breast line. And I literally was saying, push it out. I mean, I was making her push because, and it's a beautiful shot. However, she's just not pregnant enough. So I just wanted to throw that in there in case I forgot to tell you that earlier. This is just a muslin wrapped up. And I mean, this is a little more mysterious and interesting. And I don't think any client's going to want a 30 by 40, but I also don't want to do this all day long. I mean, 6-month-old sits, but pregnant women that you do have a little more to work with that you can play with. So I try to do some things that are just for me.